Hi everybody, Mr. Polley here. So, I thought it's been a little while since we last had a story, and I found a really cool one in the school library. So, this one is called Gods of Thunder, and it is about Thor. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hey, hang on a second. Thor, isn't he from Marvel? And you're right. But actually, that character is based on a real myth or legend. Now, myths and legends are made up stories that people have about their gods or about their beliefs from a long time ago. Now, Thor is actually from all of these countries up here: Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and a lot of other places around here. And they used to have stories about these characters a long time ago. But I thought I would read you some interesting, cool stories about them, okay? Now, I've shared this with P3, 4, 5, and 6 because I think that the story is very interesting, but it's a little bit difficult. So, let's have a look at it together, shall we? It's called Gods of Thunder by Tony Bradman, okay? So I'm going to try to read this first one, Thor and the Stolen Hammer, okay? So this is the author over here, and he's going to tell us this awesome story, okay? Thor and the Stolen Hammer, a myth told by the Vikings. It was morning in Asgard, home of the Norse gods. One of the gods was very cross. Thor was stomping around outside the main hall, chucking thunderbolts, crash, bang, boom. He was doing a lot of shouting and yelling too. "Oh, what's wrong with old Thor today?" said Freya with a wince. She was the most beautiful goddess of them all. "He sounds like a bear with a sore head." I think we're about to find out," said Odin, greatest of the gods. He pushed his breakfast bowl to one side and gave a deep sigh. "Here he comes." So remember, Freya, Odin, and Thor are all from Norway and Iceland. So their voices might sound a little bit different to how you and I speak. Let's turn off this light up here, that's better. The door flew open and Thor marched in. His face was red with anger. "My wonderful hammer has gone," he roared. "Did either of you take it?" "Well, don't look at me," Freya said, snootily. "Who cares about your stupid hammer anyway? I only hope you'll be quieter without it." "Actually, Freya, we should all care about Thor's hammer," said Odin. He looked worried. "Thor needs it to protect Asgard against the ice giants." The gods of Asgard had been fighting the ice giants since the beginning of time. Thor was the one god the ice giants truly feared. That was because he used his hammer to crack their icy skulls. "Oh, I hadn't thought of that," said Freya. "This could mean trouble." So look, there's Thor fighting these ice giants. I like the pictures in this book. I think they're really cute. "Trouble? I like the sound of that," said a voice. Another god popped his head round the door. He grinned cheekily. It was Loki, known as the Master of Mischief. Odin tutted and ignored him. "Perhaps you've forgotten where you put it, Thor," Odin said. "You know what you're like. You can be very forgetful." "Not where my hammer is concerned," growled Thor. "I always leave it in the corner of my room when I go to bed at night, and it wasn't there this morning." How strange," murmured Loki, with a puzzled look on his face. Then he smiled. "Can I borrow your marvelous coat of feathers, dear Freya?" "Be my guest," said Freya, shrugging. "Just make sure you don't get it dirty." Loki pulled on the magic coat of falcon feathers and flew off. Moments later, Loki was back. "Just as I thought," he said. "Thrumir, the chief of the giants, sneaked in and stole your hammer, Thor. He says he won't give it back unless Freya marries him." "Definitely not," said Freya. "I won't marry a giant. They're all so ugly and common." "Don't worry, you won't have to," snarled Thor, his face grim. He clenched his fists, and his huge muscles bulged. "Just wait till I get my hands on him." "But what if he's hidden your hammer?" said Loki. "We need to find out where he's put it. Listen, I've got a much better idea. Let's give him Freya, only it will be you in disguise, Thor." Thor realized what disguise they were planning. "Oh no! I'm not getting dressed up as a woman!" he spluttered, horrified. Odin and Freya grinned at each other. "Oh, yes, you are," they said, and got to work. Thor soon stood awkwardly before them. He wore one of Freya's dresses and a blonde wig with plaits. He wore her best necklace too, and Loki held a veil ready to cover his rugged face. "Perfect," said Odin. "The color of that dress really suits you, Thor." He does not look happy about having to wear a dress, does he? "Oh, thanks," said Thor, then scowled as Odin and Freya burst into laughter. "Very funny, I don't think," Thor grumbled. "Can we get on with it, Loki?" A little while later, Loki and Thor arrived at the castle of the ice giants. Loki had already sent a message to tell Thrumir that his lovely bride was on her way. "You'd better let me do the talking, Thor," Loki whispered as they went through the gates. Thor nodded. The two gods were led to the dining hall. Wow, look at all the food the ice giants are eating. "Welcome, Freya," said Thrumir. He was huge and ugly, and the hall was packed full of giants just like him. "I can't tell you how happy I am." Freya feels just the same," said Loki. "I see you've laid on a feast." "Yes, and I'd like Freya to sit beside me," said Thrumir with a big smile. Loki nudged Thor, and the god of thunder stomped off to do what he was told. Loki sat down too, and the feast began. Thor liked his food. He gobbled up everything in sight. He ate 3 roast chickens, 5 legs of lamb, and 8 salmon. Then he leaned back and gave a loud burp. Loki glared at Thor, but Thrumir seemed impressed. "What a wonderful woman you are," he said. "Could I just, lift your veil a little?" "Not till you give us Thor's hammer," said Loki. "That was the deal." Thrumir clicked his giant fingers. The hammer was brought out. "Happy now? Come on, Freya. How about a kiss?" "You must be joking," growled Thor. He pulled off his veil and grabbed the hammer. Thrumir stared at him with his mouth open, but soon closed it when Thor brought his hammer down on the giant's skull with a loud crack. Thor did the same to every giant in the hall. Crack, crack, crack. Then he chucked some thunderbolts just for fun. Crash, bang, boom! "Well, that's sorted then out," said Loki, looking around at the smoking ruins of Thromir's castle. Maybe you should dress up as a woman more often, Thor? I don't think so, said Thor. Poor old Freya couldn't stand the competition. Then he roared with laughter. And Loki grinned. The two friends headed back to Asgard, feeling very pleased with themselves. I believe they're brothers. Thor had his beloved hammer again, and Loki had outwitted the ice giants. And they both knew they had a great story that would be told and retold for a very long time. The end. Well, I certainly enjoyed that story. I hope you guys liked it as well. Okay? I'll try to find a nice Christmas story for next week as well. Okay? Bye-bye, everybody.